It is 10 minutes before 7 o'clock and a warm welcome back. Now, the critically acclaimed play, The Fall, which reflects on the University of Cape Town's RhodesMustFall movement, will be taking place at the State Theatre during the month of June. Inspired by the FeesMustFall movement, the play hopes to create and nurture dialogue among South Africans. The Fall is a production developed by 7 University of Cape Town drama graduates who share their personal experiences during the RhodesMustFall, the FeesMustFall student movements that took place in South Africa during 2015 and 2016. But to tell us more about the production, we're joined by 2 of the cast members. That's Ameera Conrad and Cleo Raatus. A very good morning to you guys and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
I'm going to start with you. What's the Fall? What's it about? What is being portrayed in this particular production?
The Fall tracks the RhodesMustFall movement, the FeesMustFall movement, but specifically it debunks a lot of how the student movement was portrayed in the media. So it takes you behind the scenes. It talks about the issues that we had amongst each other, issues of patriarchy, issues of gender, and how that almost tore us apart and tore the movement apart. Yeah.
So why did you think this is a production that you wanted to be a part of?
Well, I think when we were all at university in 2015, because the entire cast was at UCT, we realized that a lot of the things that were being said by various people, the media, the management, other students, was not necessarily accurate as to what was happening on the ground level. And as activists ourselves, we realized that we had an opportunity as artists to tell our story in a way that was very human and not necessarily academic, something that people could really connect with and see really that at the end of the day, these are people going through the most.
Yeah. Now take us through the focus of this production and what your roles entail. I'm going to start with you, Maria.
So I play a character whose name is Camilla. She is a queer Muslim activist and feminist, and she basically deals with a lot of the issues of colorism, issues of patriarchy and feminism, and yeah.
And you, Cleo?
And my character's name is Kaya.
Okay.
He is non-binary. They're non-binary, actually, in fact.
Okay.
And the standpoint of Kaya is that I am there to balance the issues of patriarchy. So if there's an issue of gender, I'm the one standing against it or for it. If it's patriarchy, I'm the one standing against it or for it. Because we have certain characters throughout the play. We have 7 characters. And they are hypermasculine men. They are men that really don't know where they stand on certain issues. There are women that are radical feminists. And so we really have, like, you know, electricity and popping and so we have to have these balances. So we actually represent the queer part of the movement. And our main issues within the movement was visibility and not being seen and not being respected in the movement as equal partners of the movement. Yeah.
So what kind of impact do you think it'll have on those it's intended for, particularly the authorities?
We're hoping that it's going to make people start to listen to young people, because I think that's the biggest issue that young people are dealing with right now is the older generation doesn't want to listen to us. And because, you know, we were born in a democratic South Africa and a free South Africa, there's this perception that we have nothing to fight for, whereas actually it's a lot more difficult now because there's not one single enemy. There's a lot of issues that we're dealing with as young people, and I'm hoping that I would like to urge political bodies to come and watch the show and to see what it is that young people are going through and have gone through. And for young people as well to come and watch it and engage in the dialogues that we're trying to start, and that we have started. And
I get a feeling that it's an absolute must-see. So given the state of tertiary institutions in our country, what sort of dialogue do you think this will spark?
I think this will particularly spark a dialogue about how we approach education, and this not just in the sense of tuition fees and not being able to afford tuition fees, but also the curriculum that we are teaching in our institutions, what we're learning. So a lot of the issues that we discuss is about decolonization and how a lot of history and, for example, we studied drama, but the basis of our drama was European. Whereas, in fact, in Africa, we've had drama and theatre since the beginning of time. It's in our oral traditions, it's in our history, but we don't necessarily get taught that. So a lot of the idea around decolonization is to have students learn more Afrocentric ideologies rather than Western ideologies.
Since the show, since the play started showing a few years back, how has been the reception?
It's been incredible. We started it in 2016 at the Baxter, and then in 2017 we went to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, which really is what launched this show into the global terrain. So since then we've been to London and New York, where we've played to sold-out houses, and we're now embarking on another leg of another tour. So we're going to... we're going to Galway International Festival, we're going to Melbourne Arts Festival, we're going to Bordeaux, and then we're going to Washington, D.C.
Get out of here.
So we're taking a truly South African story to the world, and it's incredible.
Yeah, and for those who will be watching it, particularly the local audiences and the international audiences, what is it that you want to take away, particularly from that show?
I think Ameera's also said it before, we want audiences to connect with the youth more.
Okay.
Respect the ideas that the youth have and start to realize that if the youth are all saying one thing, then something is actually wrong. And that's essentially what I want people to take away from it.
Okay. Remind us again of the details. Where is it playing?
So it is called The Fall. It's at the State Theatre in Pretoria, and it runs until the 24th. Every night, Tuesday to Saturday at 8 p.m, Sundays at 3. And tickets are 110 Rand. You can get them at CompuTicket. And Tuesdays, half price.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to have to see you there.
Most definitely. Now I'm under pressure. Thank you guys for chatting to us.
Thank you.
We appreciate the time. That is Ameera Conrad and Cleo Raatus talking to us about the theatre production, The Fall, which is currently on at the State Theatre until the 24th of June.